Hello and welcome. I'm Knight's Angel, and this is just a Folf on the road. Thank you for joining me. Well, got a couple of fun facts for you. Did you know that the concept of excommunication, exile, the black mark, and blackballing were all actually forms of indirect murder? How? Concept. Because the concept behind each of them was by separating an individual or group of individuals, by telling others to have no contact, no interaction, and otherwise no variation thereof, actually put a lot of people in situations where they would end up dying because nobody would do business with them in any regard. They wouldn't be able to sustain a living and would eventually starve to death or any means thereof, whether it be starving, dehydration, illness, or what have you. So in effect, it ended up, and this is back in the day, these concepts would end up leaving a person completely isolated, even if they were in a crowd of people, because they were marked. Nobody would have anything to do with them. A lot of noise. So, anyway. Sometimes it was political, sometimes it was personal. Sometimes it actually did make sense. Now, I mean, the whole concept of actually denying a person such interactions would end up badly anyway, and to a degree is actually more inhumane than anything else. However, certain individuals, this was actually deemed a natural act because no one person would be held accountable. That's why I said indirect murder, because even if it did result in somebody's death, nobody was actually held accountable for it. But that's simply because you're just merely following orders at that point. But that's neither here nor there. Some criminals, yeah, it was a bit understandable, but if somebody actually had a disagreement with either a religious or political power, yeah, it did do a lot of damage, because anybody else went to help this individual did so at the risk of joining them. So fear prevented them from doing anything. Yeah, I know, it's kind of harsh. And such practices are still carried on today, but because there is such diversity that the isolation is not there, to a degree. And what do I mean by that is the exile and excommunication were very old methods of doing so. The black mark, as we know from Treasure Island, I'm not exactly sure how accurate that is to the real world, But the black mark did not directly signify a pirate's death. It meant that, to a degree, it actually meant they had no safe haven. If they were to set foot in a safe haven for pirates and pirateers, they would be put to death. So, it was a no-win situation. Black Ball, as many of us know from cartoons, was actually, and I actually have no idea how the term got coined, but the concept behind it was social outcasting. It didn't have the same results as the others, simply because it took away the fear aspect of basic human kindness. Meaning, you didn't have to do business with them, and you weren't shunned if you did. Well, you were, but you were just shunned for it. It wasn't, you do this, you join them. It was, we can't openly accept this person. And that's actually how a lot of things worked. So, and these practices still go on to this day. That's the scary part. In areas where resources are at a minimum, well, not so much a minimum, but more scarce, the aspects of these particular marks still result the same. And yeah, and it affected everybody. It didn't matter who you were. It affected everybody. Because you were given any of these marks. If you were exiled, if you were excommunicated, if you were given a criminal mark, or a criminal branding, or any such aspect of life, you were pretty much treated like you were dead. And nobody cared. For the most part, out of fear. Now, in secret, some of these people probably did try and take care of the marked, because it was basic human humanity. It was the humane thing to do. It was the right thing to do. To take care of another person in a situation where they cannot do so themselves. Nowadays, the behavior is less noted because, well, it's still there. Because you have people that will effectively ostracize an individual for any form of disagreement with their group. And it's not the individual. And it may not be the whole group, just the ones in charge. And yeah, there is actually a particular reason why I brought this topic up, because one of the other channels I watch, the host is actually going through something similar. Best wishes and all. But I just thought I'd throw all that out there. Now, anybody is welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, or point out where I have an error in my line of thinking, or even straight up disagree with me. I welcome your input. I welcome your input. I welcome the input of anybody that agrees with me. I welcome it all. Because actually communicating on matters instead of just yelling at each other is the only way to actually solve a problem. Now, there are some situations, and I say some, simply because it's a state of inevitability that a conflict will occur. Those situations should be handled in a more mature manner than what ends up happening. But now I'm just running at the mouth. So I will go ahead and close this out here. I did all that in one breath. Well, almost one breath. Anyway. Leave your thoughts, questions, comments, what have you, down below. You know how it all works. Hit the buttons should you so choose. And I thank you for any input or even just watching. And until next time, I am Knight's Angel. This has been just the Folf on the road. And I hope you have a better day. Peace.